All right, we're going to go and get started. Once again, welcome to our first webinar hosting our new partnership with Digi-Op. We're excited about this new initiative and excited about rolling out Carbon to all of our dealer partners. We see that this is a true valuable RMR tool that really connects video and POS together and is a unique solution in the market. And we're excited to share the capabilities, the benefits, and also some opportunities for some of our dealer partners. Before we get going into Carbon, just a little bit of overview for newer dealers that are on about Alibi Security. Alibi Security is a value-added technology partner that really blends video, audio surveillance, access control, and cloud-based security solutions together. And I encourage all of our dealer partners, if you're interested in our traditional video solutions, if you're interested in cloud-based video solutions, to check our website out and look at all of the offerings that Alibi Security has. And I know that we say this many, many times about our dealer partners, but our goal is to partner with you at growing your business and really enable that growth. And so we provide things like sales support, direct technical support, professional services like programming and integrating and pre-configuring recorders or cameras for you. And then we have a whole host of marketing services that really drive to enable our dealers to grow their business. So once again, take advantage of your account manager, reach out to them and ask for more details on several of these other programs. Our presenters today, first I'd like to introduce Ryan Schock. He's the Chief Operations Officer of Digi-Op. Ryan, why don't you say hello?
Hello, everyone.
Tell them a little about yourself and your background.
I've been in the industry for just about 20 years. At one point in time, had a international integration business serving the retail community. And now I am with Digi-Op and serving that same community from the software perspective, and particularly focused on retail and data analytics and the power of machine learning. So very exciting to have been on both sides. But certainly have an understanding of the challenges that dealers and integrators face in the field, having had many of those myself. So we're very happy and excited to be partnered with Alibi Security. A lot of trust there between the two companies. And so we're excited to bring you DIGIOP Carbon and DIGIOP Elements.
And so Ryan's going to be sharing with you this morning and going through a slideshow, really showing you the history and background of Digi-Op, Carbon in specific, where Carbon is of value to anybody that you deal with and any of your end users and clients that have a register or a POS system. Carbon is a benefit for us. So he's going to be walking through that with you. And then I'd also like to introduce Jim Close. He's our National Sales Manager for Loss Prevention. Jim, why don't you introduce yourself and tell a little about your background?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be with you all this morning. My name is Jim Close. I'm the National Sales Manager for Loss Prevention at Alibi. My background is in retail loss prevention, has been for 20 years, both on the external and internal theft perspective. Just gives me a different perspective into the business. Both primarily the specialty was in independent hardware and QSR. If you're not familiar with QSR, it's quick serve restaurants or fast food. And I'm excited to be showing you a hands-on demo of Carbon a little bit later on in the presentation.
Fantastic. Yeah, Jim's going to walk you through a demo and show you in real life scenarios and in a couple different establishments where Carbon is up and running, and walk you through the benefits of the tool towards the end of our session today. And of course, my name is Bill Rogers. I oversee our sales team here at Alibi Security, and excited to be a moderator today, but really going to let the two individuals that are much smarter than I am to walk through the benefits of the solution. So with that, a little bit of meeting logistics. You'll see up on your toolbar at the top a Q&A. We've got a host of individuals that are on this webinar to answer your questions. So please don't hold your questions. If you've got questions throughout this webinar, type them in the Q&A. Please don't use the chat. Please use the Q&A, but type them in the Q&A, and we've got individuals that will answer them If you've got questions, things like that, towards the end, you can hit the raise your hand button and we'll unmute you towards the end as well. But just do that and then we'll make sure that we get all of your questions answered throughout the webinar. And without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Ryan to walk you through an introduction.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. So just a brief history of DIGIOP. Been in business for 20 plus years, very, very focused on generating value in the retail space in a variety of verticals, but generating value through the combination of data and video. And, you know, in recent years, very focused on machine learning and cloud-based technologies. So we do that for a variety of reasons, but obviously, you know, our goal and our mission as a company is to help retailers protect their business, their employees and their customers and their communities as a whole. And we do that by trying to pinpoint loss in and around the registers primarily, but really focused on the data side of things, looking for patterns and trends that highlight loss that wouldn't be easily recognized on the surface. So again, we are a software development company through and through. That's how we were founded and how we have always been. We own all of our own software code, and all of this. So one of the things that makes us unique is our software is developed in-house. So we're based in Indianapolis, Indiana. All of our development is, you know, domestic here in the United States. And then we also take the additional step of having our own in-house technical support and onboarding team. So that makes us a little bit unique as well in our industry. A little bit of who we work with, just a glimpse in what we do, and you can see here that we're very, very focused in the retail space. Whether that be in the hardware vertical, whether it be in QSR, whether it be in fuel retailers and convenience, have done a little bit of everything. But as Bill alluded to, really the value we bring is in any retailer that has a point of sale system, that has employees, that has customers, you know, there's a space there where we can add value for those folks. So we have two primary software platforms. The first is DIGIOP Elements. It's an enterprise level VMS, but very, very focused in the retail space. You know, we tend to think of it for being in the retail verticals, not necessarily a broad VMS for things like government buildings or schools or hospitals. Although it has worked in those environments in the past, we really focus the software towards the retail experience. So a couple of differentiators with it. While the recording is on-prem to an NVR, the permissions, settings, system management is all cloud-based. We do that for a couple of reasons. One, it's convenient. There's redundancy. So if there is an issue, we have those settings stored in the cloud. The video is not stored in the cloud, it's all stored on-prem. So it also has a system health component, which is very nice. And other than that, there's a lot of tools built in for either self-help or allowing us to help remotely, in a variety of ways to search. I know Jim, Jim is very adept at demonstrating all the different search capabilities within DIGIOP Elements. But in particular, we're very proud of our smart search feature, and we're very proud of, there's a variety of ways for people to serve themselves and get to the video that they need to see quickly and easily. The next platform, our second platform that we're very, very excited about, as Bill alluded to, is DIGIOP Carbon. DIGIOP Carbon is a completely cloud-based analytics platform that is essentially a data ecosystem that can ingest a variety of data points from a retail environment. It's capable of ingesting, weight scale data, a variety of different system data, smart safe data, some sensor data, those sorts of things. But in particular, where we see the most value is with point of sale data. So we ingest the point of sale data from retail environments. We push it to our cloud service. We apply machine learning analysis to identify trends and highlight exception criteria. It's incredibly flexible. I think the true power in it is it can be scaled down to provide value to a single store owner, or it can be scaled up, and we have several entities that are in the hundreds and thousands of locations with full loss prevention teams, and they see a tremendous amount of value in it as well. So it can be as big or as small as needed for the environment. It has notification. A lot of this Jim will be showing you, and it's a lot more exciting to see than it is to talk about. So there's several modules in it. It's loss prevention, there's marketing components, there's upsell opportunities, there's system health, there's a daily review component, and then a huge report sandbox that allows the retailer complete flexibility in analyzing their data and looking for that needle in a stack of needles. And again, this is a little bit more about Carbon specifically for loss prevention, but there is a proactive dynamic dashboards. We've designed it to make it, very time efficient. So we see store managers that use it on a routine basis. They're in there for 10 minutes or less a day. And Carbon has lined up all of the exceptional transactions that they need to see from the previous day, created that work list for the store manager, and then walks them through that experience to make it as quick and efficient as possible. And Carbon will present them with trending data so they can quickly see outliers, but then will allows them to drill into that data all the way down to the video of that specific transaction. So really, really interesting things that can be found. When you start stack ranking your divisions, districts, stores, or cashiers, and comparing them against each other in these critical areas, outliers pop to the surface really quickly, and it allows retailers to make decisions quickly that affect their bottom line. These are the some of the modules that reside within Digi-Op Carbon. We've just released a completely rebuilt case management module within Digi-Op Carbon. It's really, really impressive. It will track everything from the inception of a case all the way through restitution, allowing you to assign tasks, etc. It was designed to compete against freestanding case management platforms. There are other companies that have platforms that's all they do is this case management software, and the one in Carbon is really impressive. There's the system health, keeping an eye on your equipment. There is now sensor data that we are collecting. So there's a sensor module, and then marketing as well. So participating in upsell opportunities, looking at add-on sale things, stack ranking business, looking at promotions across stores or across districts, and seeing who is doing what and how those things are comparing. So there's value both from a loss prevention standpoint, but really we think of Carbon as a business intelligence and business managed software that, if used correctly, can add so much value to a retailer. And this is just a little bit about kind of what the funnel that Carbon creates. Many of us in the industry who have been here a while have seen exception-based reporting in the past, where a software will spit out a spreadsheet that says how many voids or no sales or flat exceptions were produced, but that doesn't necessarily add a ton of value to a store manager, and then it becomes cumbersome to track down the video of those things, etc. And Carbon cuts completely through that and a little bit turns it on its head. So Carbon has the capability to look at multi-layered queries, show us a refund followed by a no sale, show us a suspended transaction followed by a no sale, show us when a cashier exceeds 5% of their transactions are exceptions in a 24-hour period or in a 7-day period. So Carbon's really diving into the data, finding what's critical, and then presenting that to the retailer in a beautiful way, and allowing them that power. So you can kind of see that again in one of the industries that we serve. We see managers in there. Our average carbon review session is 10 minutes or less a day. And the time savings for a store manager or a loss prevention auditor range from 8 to 30 hours per month. Often that store manager's labor is the most expensive labor in the retail environment. So those are substantial savings and substantial ROI. So there are several implementation pathways that can be had, and it really depends on what's best for the end user. So there are purpose-built DIGIOP Elements NVRs, which will drive both the Elements VMS and Carbon. Those can be IP hybrid or HD analog solutions. So if somebody needs a complete reset, there's that pathway. There's also the pathway. We have folks that are maybe smaller in store count. They don't really need Carbon at this point. So you can just do Elements NVR and Elements VMS. Or the other one that's very exciting is the ability to layer on a Carbon appliance on top of an existing Alibi Vigilant installation. So that is a very exciting opportunity that we see where you potentially could go back to existing customers and offer them this powerful data solution that would work side by side with their Vigilant recorders. And so there's some details over that. And it could be that they need a camera reset. Carbon really does need IP cameras over each register to function, at peak. But we also have worked with existing IP cameras in the past as well. And then we wanted to touch on and just highlight, just one of the opportunities that we have that we're very excited about. At the beginning of last year, we signed a national agreement with Ace Hardware as the only approved vendor for loss prevention and business analytics software. And we're one of only two, our DIGIOP Elements is one of only two approved VMS solutions within Ace Hardware. Many of you may not have followed it, but Ace Hardware is the premium hardware brand in the nation. They have 4,000 plus locations. And we've worked very diligently and hard to build that relationship with Ace Hardware. Been working with them since 2017. Building relationships with critical retailers in that space. So we're very, very excited about that relationship. And through that, with Alibi as our main partner in that trying to serve that community. So that partnership essentially entails us working with Ace Hardware's internal marketing team to promote the program to the Ace dealers. They're constantly emailing out information about the software and case studies, et cetera, which are very influential for the Ace dealers. We also go to their conventions, which are huge affairs. And then we work closely with the Ace Hardware loss prevention team to collaborate on new solutions and then incorporate those, those queries and reports into the software. So we're constantly looking to add more value, to fine tune the reporting and the machine learning within Digi-Op Carbon. This partnership, in the ACE community, many of those folks are in desperate need of, a trusted partner to help them design and implement systems. We often run into, and I know Jim, and Leah can speak to this even better than I can. We often run into folks who are on, video surveillance systems 2 generations ago. They're hodgepodge, they're analogs, they don't know what they have, it's outdated. So they're really in need of a partner. So there's an opportunity to not only, speak to the value of what DigiOp can bring from a software perspective, but there is a need for a partner community that can help these folks, not just with VMS, but I know many of you do other things as well and offer other services. And so there's opportunity to implement those solutions for these folks as well and be that local resource for this community. The community is very tight-knit, very much word of mouth driven, and we have seen folks that do a great job and offer value really get promoted internally inside of a region. So, and they become the de facto integrator for all of the ACE folks within a city or a region. And that's just, again, ACE Hardware is, I think we have some other opportunities here listed. So Benjamin Moore Paints, Do It Best Hardware, and Orville Distribution, which is a distribution network in the hardware space as well, because the value that we're bringing to ACE correlates directly to all other folks in the hardware space. And that's just one vertical that we're serving right now, but it's a critical opportunity, and we're working closely with Alibi to really, exact the potential of that relationship.
Thanks a lot, Ryan, and really calling out the ACE Hardware relationship. And this is a unique opportunity for our dealer partners. So DigiOp is exclusively partnered with Alibi Security and our dealer network to go after these sales and install opportunities. As you can see, with ACE Hardware alone, there's over 4,000 ACE Hardware locations throughout the United States, not to mention the Do It Best, the Orgill, and the Benjamin Moore. So towards the end of this session, I'm going to introduce you to the rest of our loss prevention team. And if you are interested in becoming an ACE certified dealer partner to be able to take advantage of these opportunities, we ask that you let us know. And then we've got a separate program that will take you through sort of walking through the requirements of the ACE relationship, how to bid it, how to walk the job. One of the great things that we have to really set you up for success to go out and sell and win these ACE Hardware opportunities is someone like Jim Close. I mean, Jim comes from the ACE Hardware world and knows it. He knows that owner network and how to integrate and how to work inside of that. So he'll definitely be involved a lot in your engagement, as is Leah and Sarah rounding out our loss prevention team. So I'll have some information for you towards the end, but I definitely encourage you, if you're looking for opportunities and additional opportunities to go out and sell solutions, to really take advantage and become one of those ACE certified dealer partners. And as Ryan called out, and let me back up one slide, or a couple of slides, as Ryan called out, our dealer partners that have engaged on these opportunities have found it an opportunity to upgrade other aspects. We had one dealer partner that went in and upgraded their fire system. Another dealer partner went in and upgraded Berg and their monitoring, their fire, and I think their phone system too. So there's opportunity for all of the other services that you provide as well. So really excited about that, and excited that DigiOp is partnered exclusively with Alibi to go out after these opportunities. What I'm going to do now is let me unshare my screen. I'm going to turn it over to Jim, and really excited to walk you through what DigiOp Carbon is, and just the uniqueness around DigiOp Carbon and how it melds video and POS together, and just it is leaps and bounds beyond what traditional owners think is just text overlay with video. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jim.
Well, listen, I'm really excited to show everybody this. This is Carbon. And we're going to start out with this first step is logging in. You can log in through Google Chrome. And one of the great features about Carbon is you can use this anywhere. So anywhere you have access to the internet and Google Chrome. We're going to start by logging in. We're going to see a 9-store chain in suburban Chicago that allows us to use them as a test location, an Ace Hardware chain. First thing you're going to see is it's going to bring you to your reviews page. And I've got all 9 locations here. First thing I'll do is select the location, and it's going to take me to an exception. Exceptions are important if you're not familiar with the retail lingo. Basically what an exception is would be like a cash refund or a cash drawer open, a no sale, avoided transaction. Any function that a cashier can use to steal. It's going to have a legitimate function, but it's also going to have an illegitimate use as well. So cash refunds are the #1 way that a dishonest cashier will steal at retail. That's just a loss prevention fact you can throw out as you're doing presentations. So what you're looking at here is my review screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the receipt. Here's the corresponding video. When I click on this receipt, it takes me to the point in time where that transaction is actually happening. So we're looking at a refund taking place at this point right here. I've got the product being returned, the old receipt, there's a customer standing there. I can now confirm this is valid, save it, move on to the next one. Click on the receipt. Same thing. I can see a customer standing there. I'm feeling this is legitimate. Classify it as such, and it takes me to the next one in line. You kind of get the idea. It's going to walk you through each one. Now I can review this one as well. This is a good example. There is no customer standing here. So what I can do now is change the classification type to maybe requires further info. If I see her take money out of the register and put it into her pocket, that changes it to possible fraud. Once I list the parameters in there, I can now leave notes. And then I can send it to somebody. I'm not going to do that now because if I actually classify this as possible fraud for this particular retailer, it's going to alert their entire accounting team. We don't want to do that. But if I did want to send this for further information, I'm going to send this over to Leah because she's going to research this for me. One of the nice features of Carbon is I can click on this email button and it's automatically going to open up in my default email program. And now she can click that link and it's going to take her directly to that video. Once I have it classified, I can move on to the next one in line. If something did happen, let's say we're pulling an average clip of a transaction, but it ends here and I need to see what happens next. To do that, all I need to do is request 60 additional seconds of video on the back end. I can request 60 seconds on the front, or I can pick a custom range. And what that'll do is it'll call down to the DVR and attach that video to the existing clip here that's already buffered in the cloud. So it's a great feature. We just verified 3 refunds in a matter of probably less than a minute. To put that in perspective, this would have taken somebody like me, a loss prevention practitioner. Bill mentioned I came from Ace Hardware. I've been in the industry for 20 years and associated with that particular brand for just about that entire time. This would have taken an hour, maybe an hour and a half to print the receipt, find the receipt, go to my VMS. To Ryan's point, a lot of these independent retailers don't have updated systems. So by the time I get all the information I need, I'm an hour and a half into it just for one. We've gone through 3. As I scroll down here, you can see how many are in that reviews queue. And you can tell they've been reviewed because there's action taken against them. There's a check mark there as well. And then once I'm finished with that, I can then go on to my next location. So you can get through these exceptions very, very quickly. It's pretty much so just 3 clicks and you're good. Something that used to take hours and hours and hours, now it takes a matter of seconds. Once I'm finished with my reviews, I can go to my reports page. So what gets put into reviews are certain exception types that are high risk. If I have a transaction where a receipt is reprinted and then a refund is done against it, it ends up in the reviews page. And primarily this particular retailer has narrowed them all down to cash refunds. Nobody does the other exception types anymore because they know they're reviewed frequently. Once I'm in reviews page, I can sort by transaction type. I can sort by classification type, date. So this is all sortable. Moving on to my reports page. This is the real power of Carbon. What you're seeing here are two different reporting systems. I have systems reports on the right. These are the items listed in orange, and I have user reports, which are customizable reports that the retailer has put together. So when you're talking about exceptions, these are the most commonly abused exceptions in retail. Cash refunds, defective returns, no sales, that's just a way to get the drawer open. A 1 penny sale, if I restrict the no sale function, which many retailers do because they do not want cashiers opening the cash drawer, in this particular vertical hardware, there's a lot of things in a hardware store you could buy for a penny, screws and nails. So cashiers will bring pennies to work and they'll bring a 1 penny sale to open the drawer. Suspended transactions, that's a way where I can just make a transaction disappear and pocket the cash. I can do the same thing with avoided transactions. So these are what we call canned reports. They run every 30 days. So we're just going to click on this canned report here, cash refunds. And what you're looking at now are the refunds across my entire organization, all 9. And when I hover above, I can see who's doing the most. Get a feel for activity. Okay, so we've got this one is the highest. I can now drill down. What I'm doing here is just highlighting all 9 stores. Now I want to see it by cashier. Stores are great, but I want to see which employee is using that exception type the most. Now expand this across all my cashiers. So this is the entire company that I'm looking at right here. So you can really see who jumps out. This particular user right here. A unique feature to Carbon, and there are many. You're collecting a lot of data. The challenge is how do you sort through it? You can drown in data. So what Carbon does, it allows you to basically filter out the clutter. So once you establish what a normal baseline is for your business, we're going to call it 40. 40 cash refunds in a 30-day period would be normal activity. Anything above that would be abnormal. We want to call it out. And the whole goal here is to give that store owner, that store manager, their time back. They live in what we refer to a 5-minute environment. If they can't get it in 5 minutes, then they're onto something else. So DIGIOP has come up with a threshold line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set that at 40, which is normal. Because we want to know anything above 40 is abnormal. What just popped up now is the notification screen. How do you want to be notified? Somebody has crossed that 40 threshold and now is in the 41. Carbon will now email somebody, or I can be notified in the desktop or the browser. And the notification feature is really robust, and you'll see other notifications as well. But for the type of retail that we are serving, this is a game changer. I've worked in other large companies where we've used programs, exception-based programs that Ryan had alluded to in his presentation, and it would give us a ton of data, but we were never able to do something like this. I can go from the data to the transaction to the video, and I'm literally doing this in seconds.
Jim, and share how easy it is if you've got a multi-store, so say you're a director level person or a district level person and you've got 10 stores under you, how easy it is to manage and just without having to log out and log back into another interface.
Oh yeah, it's great question though. You're managing multiple stores, multiple locations. I no longer need to just pull up one store. What I'm looking at here is one cashier. I could just run those reports by store, and now I can see every location and I don't need to log out, log back into something else. I'm just going to jump right into McHenry right here. And it's going to get me that information. I'm going to go right to it. So if you're tasked with having to review all this, I'm sitting back in seconds. I'm getting that information that tells me, okay, I'm confident that this is a good transaction. This cashier is not stealing. She just works the register closest to the door, and that's why she has the highest percentage of cash returns. So for somebody who's sitting at the 50,000 foot level, it gives them a really clear picture. And I'll really dive down into that when I highlight the dashboard. That gives you the overall business view. So going back into reports, I can also run custom reports, and the reports are super easy. I can do a report based on anything I want. So common question we get during these presentations are, well, these are great, but my particular business, I need to know a reprint that's followed by a refund. That's particularly important to me. So we'll just build a report for that. So click on new report. You're going to select your date range. Then you basically just pick what you're looking for. And these are all your different filters that you can use. A really popular feature with Carbon is the ability to do this. Let's say I want to search for a specific SKU. I want to know how many SKUs of this particular item that we sold in a 1 week period because we're running a promo. And I can't remember the SKU, but I do know what it's called. And I'm just typing in paint for a paintbrush. I'm looking for this particular paintbrush. Carbon is going to go through and just start to make suggestions on all the data that's stored in the data warehouse. So now that when I do select this item, it gives me that SKU number. I can run this report, and now I can save this report. So you're looking at, there's another SKU level report here. This was for, it's the Midwest. They wanted to know how much ice melt they were selling because it snows up here, unfortunately. When you run that report, you can now go through and see, are they really ringing up ice melt? Are we selling it? Which SKU is selling the best? And you can see the days you're selling the most. And now what's really important, unlike other reporting programs, if I just click on this, it's going to give me the corresponding video with it. So I can actually verify that they are actually selling the proper SKU. It really is something that these types of businesses, Ace Hardware, for example, just didn't have the ability to do. So you can get an idea of exactly how tailored to your specific business that these reports will be. And that they're unique to user type as well. I'm going to be jumping over and showing you a different vertical. It's going to be the QSR in a second. Here, I'm just going to run through system health here, and then I'm going to jump over and show you Culver's. So system health, what it allows the customer to do is track their cameras that are on and offline, their NVRs that are on and offline, and take a look at their data transport and their exceptions and their exception percentage. And then I can also drill down here by location. Where you see the gauges, green is good, red means there's an issue somewhere. And it now puts me in a position where I can investigate these 28 cameras offline. I already know what happened here. There's a power outage at one of their stores. So they're getting somebody out. The nice thing is the owner was notified, so they were able to take action on it right away. System health, you can configure to send out a notification when you have a DVR offline or a camera offline. So it's a really, really popular feature amongst Ace Hardware. And I can get further information, real detailed information, if I use the grid feature here. I'll show you dashboard for this particular client, and then I'll show you dashboard for Culver's. You get an idea of how the different industries would use them. So the dashboards are dynamic and they're customizable. And what the dashboard does is it allows each user to set up reports that are important to them so they can get an overall view of the business. So I'm looking at cash refunds, Once again, I can hover over, and if I want to drill down, I can. I can look at overall exceptions by store, who's doing the most. Is there anything that I need to see that looks out of line? Not really. If I wanted to go in and take a closer look, I'm just going to click and it's going to take me right there. And then I've showed you the drill down process before, so I can drill down from there. I'm going to log out of this user and I'm going to show you QSR. Just take me a second. So it's going to open up in reviews page again. And what it looks like here, you can see that the exception types are different. So if you're pursuing QSR, you have a QSR customer. To Bill's point early on when we opened the session is, if they have a register, you should introduce them to this product. It truly is unique to the type of businesses we're going after. These are businesses that are big enough to have big box problems, but small enough where they can't afford a full-time loss prevention professional to investigate them. So that's what Carbon becomes for them. It becomes their loss prevention support department. It allows them to go through and do what somebody like me, when I consulted, would come into a business and do. So their exception types are different. The big thing we're concerned about in the QSR world is not so much refunds. People don't return food like they do a sweater. They'll bring it back and we'll comp them. So what we pay attention to are discounts, 100% discounts, 50% employee discounts, don't makes, transaction cancels, everything that's happens at most modern QSRs now, quick serve restaurants, is they will enter a transaction here and a duplicate ticket prints in the kitchen telling somebody to make that item. So I'm processing the transaction here. The kitchen gets a ticket that says make. When I type in transaction canceled, don't make, what I'm doing is I'm entering financial information into the register, but I'm telling it don't send that information to the kitchen. And usually when something like that happens, it's bad. So that's why it ends up here in the exceptions reviews page. This works just the same as ACE does. This is a different point of sale provider. ACE's primary point of sale provider is Epicor. There are some other one-offs, but primarily it's Epicor. This particular user, this is a Culver's. It's a regional burger chain in suburban Chicago. Actually, they're based out of Wisconsin. Their primary point of sale is Radiant. So when I click on the receipt, it looks a little bit different, but the process is the same. So for one reason or another, this employee is discounting this particular transaction for half the value. If I want to see greater detail, I can pull this window around and then really see what's going on in the transaction here. So then it becomes,
so Jim,
is it? Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. So now for this specific employee, I'm putting together a case file for them. Walk through how that works and how easy it is to really put several transactions together and take advantage of just the easy to use case management capabilities of Carbon.
Yeah, great call out. So this needs further information. This is suspicious. I'm going to type my notes in and then I'm going to save it. And now I've found this employee doing something else. So I want to document it. So I'm going to save this to cases. So I'm going to build a case. So I click on cases here. And I'm going to put it into an existing case. I'm going to add it. And I'm just going to add this one in there too, so we have something to compare it against. And the reason I'm just typing in here is you need to have 8 characters to report against. So now they're both added into cases. Now when I go back and I finish my research, I can go to cases, I can go to Jim's to review, and my transactions are right here. And I can save these, I can export them. I can export them and send them to law enforcement. If it's going to turn out to be a discipline issue, I can then turn around and send it to HR. So it's super easy to use. It's a very popular feature. In those cases, we'll stay in there. You don't need to worry about deleting video. And I can share those cases with anybody in the company. That's an idea of how cases work. When you look at reports for QSR, it's going to look a little bit different. We're going to have a compliance report, which basically tells me which location is actually using the software. You can see how many transactions they've done, how many they haven't. But when I go to regular reports, most of what they're going to do are going to be customizable. And I'm looking for 100% discounts in this world, paid outs. Like I said, refunds don't happen very often. So when they do, I definitely want to see what's going on. And now I can drill further down into the person doing the most. And from here, I can start to do my investigation and view those transactions. This dashboard is going to look a little bit different. The QSR world, like I said, they're interested in 100% discounts, discounts by days of the week. So you can see here, a manager discount with this particular customer, they should only have right about here 8, because what that is it's the managers and shift leads meals. This particular QSR owner comps those, but as you can see here, we're way above on some of these days, so they're giving food away, which impacts their food costs. So what this particular owner will do is set that trend line that I had showed you earlier with the ACE locations. And when they've exceeded that trend line, now he's notified. You've got people giving away food. So this for QSR is a really big deal. It allows them to get a quick look, but also take action. You can also use it from an efficiency standpoint. He is tracking sales by hour. And what he's looking for here is once he crosses a certain dollar amount, he wants to be notified so they can have staff stop doing anything that's non-food running related. So they can have food expediters getting food to the drive-through and getting food to the cars that are waiting past the drive-through. So this has become a big efficiency tool for this particular market. Going back to reviews. So you get an idea of just how quickly and efficiently you can get through these questionable transactions and really drill down and take a look and see what's happening. And the video part of this works the same as it does with our ACE hardware stores. So notifications, Carbon will notify off of just about anything. Not just about anything, anything you direct it to will notify. The notifications are easy to set up. You're going to select the criteria and you're just going to pick different ways you want to be notified. And I can do that for systems health, like I've showed you before, cameras, or I can do that off of anything that shows up in a report. When a paid out happens, if I want to be notified, I can set that up as a notification as well. And those are the highlights of Carbon and what it does. It really is, and I've said it a couple of times already, but it's true, it's a game changer. This type of technology for this type of customer, just, they couldn't get it, it wasn't affordable. It was out of reach for them because a lot of this information you can get in your point of sale system, but you cannot jump from here to here to here to here this fast. You just can't do it. Carbon puts you in a position where you can, and as somebody who's been an end user and somebody who's also sold this solution, when you're sitting with a potential customer and they're watching you get to something that fast, you can see the wow factor right then and there. So it is when we do presentations on Carbon, it's a showstopper. It really is. It almost puts you at an unfair advantage. It makes it very difficult to steal at the register. What I will tell you is when an employee does steal, this particular customer you're looking at here, Carbon caught 2 of his employees. One of them the very first time they did it, the other one the second time. The other hardware location, similar incident 2 weeks ago. The cashier stole 2 times before she was caught. What makes that significant is you're speaking to a business owner, is the net profit for hardware, for example, is only 2.7%. So if an employee steals $100, you're not out $100, you are out $3,333 based on what your net profit is. So if a dishonest employee steals and they get away with it over a length of time, it really erodes the profit margin. It does it very, very quickly. And if you're not paying attention to things like this or cash refunds, bad things are going to happen to you financially. This puts you in a position where as soon as somebody steps outside that line, that line that's normal, because normal activity is this and this isn't, I can take action on this right away. And it truly does change behavior at the locations where customers use the software consistently. We find very little theft-related incidents once word gets out to the employees that Carbon is actually in place and working.
Awesome,
all right.
Awesome, Jim.
Kick it back to you, Bill.
Appreciate that. So we'll do some Q&A. We've got some answers, some questions that have been answered or asked, and then some questions that have been submitted. So, Jim, when you're going out and positioning this to an end user, an owner, and you had to call out what the top 3 benefits to an owner is, what would those top 3 benefits be?
The top 3 would be a decrease in what's in retail is called shrink. You don't see any theft at the register happening, so that's a big deal. From QSR, it would be a reduce in food cost. What you also see is an increase in efficiency. Once cashiers know that, hey, I got called out because I did a don't make, or I got called out because I did a 1 penny sale to open the drawer because I wanted to count my drawer out before I leave for the day. Those issues go away. I'm not saying it shuts down theft completely. There's always someone who's going to try to beat the system, but Carbon catches them. And the third would be increased productivity amongst the managers, the management staff. The ACE location I showed you, this is a good productivity example. The manager would have to come up and do his known as a manager override for every cash return. So that means they're helping someone mix paint, and now they have to walk away to go up front and approve a $5 cash transaction. Knowing that Carbon validates those, they no longer do that. So now they have 2 happy customers instead of 2 unhappy ones. You've got an unhappy person waiting at the register for a manager, and you have another unhappy customer waiting at the paint counter to get their order finished. So we've just seen a really big increase in managers being able to do what they're paid to do, which is manage a store.
Fantastic. Ryan, a couple questions for you. What POS systems is Carbon currently integrated with, and what if it's not one of these POS systems? What is the process to find out if it could integrate?
So good question, Bill. So, and I think Leah and Sarah Ryan have the complete list. These are just a few of them. But obviously with our own development team in-house, we have the capability to do API level integrations with any point of sale system that has an API, which the majority of them do. And we have a short-term list of who we want to add as well in the different verticals. Obviously, it takes some time to get to all of them. I would say if you encounter an opportunity with a unlisted point of sale system, they're going to want to work directly with Leah and Sarah on your team to kind of gather that information. Who is the point of sale company? Does the end user have a contact person that they work with or a representative from that point of sale company? From there, we can get in touch and kind of discuss APIs and those sorts of things. I would say once we identify a point of sale system and we get that API information from them, it typically doesn't take us very long to do that integration. because of how our software is written. So we have a very open API. So as long as the, 90% of the time, if it's a legitimate point of sale system and not some homegrown one-off system, they will have an API, they will have a representative. And if they're willing to give that to us, then we can do that work.
Fantastic. And these are the POS systems that are currently integrated that I've circled here. As Ryan said, a couple things we need to know ahead of time before you contact our loss prevention team. Is who the POS system is? Is it on-premise or is it cloud-based? Do they have a direct connection to their sales rep, the company that we could get DigiOp in touch with? How large is the opportunity? Things like that. So so have that ready, and we've got a playbook. So we've put together a playbook that if you log in online to your dealer portal, we've got Matthew with our marketing department on. Matthew, so that dealer playbook, that's going to be on their portal when they log in on online?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It's not yet, because after this webinar, I'll go through and certify everyone. But yes, as soon as you log in, give me about an hour or so, everyone will be able to go in and look at the playbook. And there's a variety of different resources in there, from install guides, step-by-step instructions, and tips during an install process. And then we also have a variety of videos. So in case you had to step out during this webinar at all and you missed something, we have a variety of videos on our YouTube page for you to check out as well.
And so I've had several people ask that they're interested in becoming ACE certified. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a thank you email as soon as we're off of this to everybody that attended with the contact information of our loss prevention team. And quickly, I'll introduce. So Leah Kaminsky is our sales program manager for loss prevention. Leah, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
And Leah will be available. She'll be your main point of contact if you're looking for demos. We want a demo. We want a demo for your end users. As you saw with Jim, the power in what sells, the power of Carbon, and what Carbon brings to really meld POS and video together is to demo it. And so Leah's available to do that. And then if you got POS integration questions, things like that, we also have our inside sales specialist, Sarah Ryan. Sarah, say good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
And Sarah helps Leah out and assists Leah with order processing, questions, things like that. So that sort of rounds out with Jim and Leah and Sarah. We have a full team available, a loss prevention a team available. So what I'm going to do is I'll send out an email with Leah's contact information if you're interested in becoming ACE certified, to really open the door to those additional opportunities and engage ACE. Please let Leah know, and we'll put together a list, and then we have a separate training that we'll walk through for that. Let me see here. So Ryan, I've got a question. Does it work with Oracle Micros 3700 Office computer?
It doesn't currently, but it certainly could.
Fantastic. Yeah. So Karen, when I send out the information, get that information over to Leah, and she'll work with the DigiOp integration team to sort of get that answered for you. Let's see here. David Davis, several people on communication. So David, on videos, I'm going to send you a link. There's several videos. You know, Alibi, we love putting our videos together, and we've got a video team, and we've got 5 or 6 that are already teed up for you. And just as we do for Vigilant and Witness and anything that we sell, our goal is to set you up for success, not only to sell the solution, but to install and support the solution. So I know we didn't cover a lot about Elements on here. Elements is, a great VMS platform. And as Ryan talked about, Carbon works with Elements and Vigilant. We're going to have specific training videos and training collateral and a technical webinar and things like that going forward that really will train you on setup, install, and support of elements, and how to set up and get carbon connected and hand it off to the DigiOp onboard team. What's great as far as templates on the DigiOp side, onboard, and all of that, the DigiOp onboard team handles. You know, you configure, you set it up on site, you configure it, and then hand it off to their team, and then they do the onboarding. So, you know, it's really a partnership between Alibi, you in the field, and the DigiOp team to support the install. Let's see
Bill,
here.
do you want me to bring up elements real quick?
We're at our committed hour time. Okay. So what we'll do is we've got some videos in the links that I'm going to send you that talk about elements and a deeper dive in elements. We're going to have ongoing webinars. This is just the kickoff of this initiative to sort of whet your appetite. Hopefully, all of you see the opportunity that if you've got a client that has a POS system and a video system, that this is an opportunity, not only an RMR opportunity, but an upsell opportunity and an integration opportunity for you. So we've got a lot more coming. Once again, would like to thank you for attending today. Let's make sure I've answered. Yep, I've answered all the questions. And so we'll follow up with an email and more to come. Thanks again. And as always, we appreciate the partnership.